And today we have a special treat. We have Tara Brown as our guest speaker today. So come on up, Tara. Our very own Tara Brown. Tara is an engaging and sought-after speaker who guides individuals and groups through the process of designing their goals and is a catalyst as they create and embody a life they love living. A licensed architect, licensed spiritual life coach, certified life mastery consultant, certified parent educator, and energy healer, Tara is a graduate of both Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Yale University. She has over 20 years experience practicing architecture and teaching design and has been a diligent student of the science of mind for over 10 years. Today, she guides people as they design and build lives they love. Despite her impressive education, she's most proud of her 2 degrees earned at the School of Hard Knocks, 1 in failure and 1 in success. Let's welcome Tara. Let's energize our hands by rubbing them together and repeat after me. Tara, we open our hearts and our minds to receive your words of wisdom today. We love you. We support you. We thank you. We bless you. We're happy that you're here with us today. Thank you.
Let's take a breath. Nobody has measured, even the poets, how much a heart can hold. That's from Zelda Fitzgerald. This month in our study of Bodacious Love, we've been talking about 3 core ideas. And these are the core ideas of our Science of Mind teachings. God is all, God is law, and God is love. We've talked about committing to love, we've talked about deciding to love. And today I'm going to share with you 3 practices and ways of thinking that will enable you to joyfully receive love in every moment that you choose it. And many of us have been challenged by choosing to receive love. When Rev Sherry invited me to do this talk and she told me this was the topic, there was a part of that went, oh dear. Because I've been on a journey for the last 12 months to open my heart to receive more love. So this is a very personal talk, and the practices I'm sharing are practices I employ, and they work. So for many of us, we forget that we have this common inheritance, and we live in this world of judgment. And I know not us here, but when we interact in the world, there might be just a little bit of judgment. And we forget that we have this shared inheritance, right? That we're all one in the divine. If we believe in oneness, and let me tell you people, I do science of mind from logic. I'm weird that way. It's like I have to derive it scientifically. That MIT background shows up in my spirituality. And so if there's only one, and if it is love, and if there's only one, then we are one in the one, because we couldn't possibly be separate. That would be 2. So we are one in love already, but we forget. Many of us have carried beliefs that separate us from love. Like, if someone wishes to give us love, there are strings attached. Have you ever looked at somebody's gift and go, mm-hmm. What do you want for that? That's not coming freely. We don't trust love. Or we feel guilty. Anyone ever felt guilty that maybe they don't deserve it? That they don't deserve love? I've had to work through the belief that I didn't deserve love unless I changed, that I was unlovable. Has anyone, I'm not gonna ask you to raise your hand, I'll raise mine. Has anyone ever felt unlovable? Completely unworthy of love? And I see some hands flying in the back, you brave people. how could you be unworthy of what you are? So, as religious scientists, again, we believe that God is all. God is oneness. We believe, and we look at our creation symbol, right? There is the big circle. The God is whose center is in me and you anywhere, but the circumference is nowhere. There's no limit. We have our word. In the beginning was the word, the idea, the thought, moving through the law that creates and form. So the idea, the thought, is that all is love. And we're going to step into our first practice of how thought creates love. And our first practice today is believing, being love. Ernest Holmes on page 151 of the Science of Mind textbook writes, God manifests himself through all individuals. No two people are alike. Each has a unique place in the universe of mind. Each lives in mind. Each contacts it through his own mentality in an individual way, drawing from it a unique expression of its divine nature. If one makes himself or herself receptive to the idea of love, he becomes lovable. Whoever becomes receptive to the idea of peace, I skipped a sentence, to the degree that he embodies love, he is love. So people who love are loved. Whoever becomes receptive to the idea of peace, poise, and calm, whoever embodies these divine realities, finds them flowing through him and becomes peaceful, poised, and calm. In order to receive something, we must first be it. See it, then we see it, and then we can receive it. So the first step then is being love. So I'm going to invite you into a contemplative practice, but I want to ask you a question first. For many of us, we feel love if you imagine the embrace of a loved one. And for some of us, it's giving that embrace, and for some of us, it's receiving that embrace. So I'm going to invite you to tune into a time in your experience where you melted in the embrace of love. It could be that someone you love had their arms around you and they held you and you just melted. It could be that maybe you were holding a child and you just melted in the love of that holding. So I'm going to invite you to think about where you feel love. And if you feel good about it, to close your eyes. Put your hands on your heart and take a breath with me. Breathing in and letting it go. And imagine that embrace. Put yourself in the space of feeling the embrace of love. Perhaps it's arms around you, holding you, and you just melt. And every time I do this, I cry. And you just melt into love. Or perhaps it's you're holding a child or you're holding someone and you feel them melt into you and you melt into love. Feel that love. Just feel it. And breathe it in. And as I say it outside, say it to yourself. I am lovable. I am lovable. I am perfectly loved by God now. I am perfectly loved by God now. I am perfectly loved by God now. I am lovable. And feel the expansion of your heart. And just feel the love. And holding that space of love, bring your attention back to the room. Like I said, I can't do that without crying. As a mentor of mine once said, When the heart opens, the eyes leak. So that is an experience of being love. And you can carry that experience with you anywhere and everywhere you go, because it's yours and it's your divine nature. How do you move from being love to joyfully receiving love? We have to see love. In A Course in Miracles on page 231, it's written, "When you want only love, you will see nothing else. Love too is recognized by its messengers. If you make love manifest, its messengers will come to you because you invited them. You cannot really give anything but love to anyone or anything, nor can you really receive anything but love from them." In our brain, there is a system called the reticular activating system. It's a science. Its job is to filter. There's something like 80,000 inputs that we're aware of at any moment. The lights, the stage, the fabric, the shoes, they're a little pointy, but they're an homage to my other mentor who always wore great shoes on the stage. And, the temperature of the air, right? So in order for us to filter what we pay attention to, because the brain can't take in all these inputs, we'd go nuts. It filters. How does it filter? Perfectly according to what we're paying attention to. So in our V symbol, right, there is a filter. It's a personal belief system, sometimes known as BS. And that personal belief system is the filter through which we experience what we create. And so when we change what we are looking for, we find a different result. So when we pull out the filter of undeserving love or love being attached to guilt, and we just replace it with seeing love in all things, we see love everywhere. So there's a story. In the movie from 2011, there was a movie called The Help. Did anyone see that movie? The movie The Help? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story from the movie. And it's a little colorful for church. But it's about a chocolate pie that has a secret ingredient in it. So Minnie is famous for her chocolate custard pies, and many people have hired her just to get her hands on cooking. Minnie's food is so good that her employers will tolerate her sass and her outspoken personality just so they can continue eating her food. Minnie takes pride in her baking skills, and the pies are her signature dish, the outward manifestation of her unique talents, and the guarantee that her employers won't fire her for expressing herself in an otherwise repressive environment of a white household. But Minnie also uses pies to subvert the power dynamics in the home. After Miss Hilly jeopardizes Minnie's chances of ever finding work again, Minnie makes a chocolate custard pie, including the special ingredient, and watches Hilly savor 2 slices of it before telling her the truth. Minnie humiliates and degrades Hilly as an act of revenge, but also gains a kind of power over her. Now Minnie has something to hold over Hilly's head, a secret she can reveal, if Hilly continues to spread rumors about her. So one of the things, and we all know what the secret ingredient is. I don't need to tell anybody what that is in church, right? Okay, good. We're all good. I won't cover that. In A Course in Miracles, it teaches everything is love. We teach from Science of Mind that everything is love. That means that every human act is an act of love. It is a call for love, or it is an expression of love, no matter how unskillful it may seem. So Minnie's act, was that a call for love, or was that an expression of love? It's a call for love, right? When we are looking for love, we gain the ability to look at our circumstances and discern what's actually going on, no matter how unskillful the behavior. And so I want to impress upon you to put on this being of love, and then choose to see love in every action that shows up around you. because then we can move into joyfully receiving love. And so one of the things about Minnie's pie is that Miss Hilly didn't know at first what was in the pie. Have you ever received something from someone that you really didn't want? Yeah, right? We all have, right? And so there is a way to receive with the discerning eye of love that keeps you awake and aware to love's presence, but also awake and aware to what you want to choose to bring into your life. So there's 3 ways we could have reacted. If someone is presenting us with a special ingredient pie, there are 3 ways you can interact with that pie, right? You can recognize it's a special ingredient pie and go, no, I'm not having it. That is refusal, right? We can look at the pie and go, okay, I'll take the pie and I'll eat the pie. That's acceptance. Or we can look at the pie and go, that's a special ingredient pie. Thank you for letting me know that you would give me a special ingredient pie. And I'm going to set it over here. That is a loving act both of that person, recognizing the call for love, and of self. I choose to see for what it is, the gift, and set it aside. So how can you do that? So I want to do a little demonstration here, a little practice that I have used. And I need your help. This is a participatory event. So I'm going to invite you to judge me. Silently, please. I got enough going on in my own head. I don't need any help. But what I'm wearing, how I'm speaking, the color of my hair, the way I hold my mic, anything. And so in a moment, I'm going to just invite you to all, this is a lot of people, to silently judge me. And I'm just going to stand here for like 30 seconds. So I invite your silent judgment now. No. I'll close my eyes if you don't want me to look at you. And the judgments could be good or bad, but please just judge. Okay. So we're going to exercise again. But I'm going to do something different, and I'm not going to tell you what it is until afterwards. Now I invite you to silently judge me. Once again, I'll close my eyes. Did you notice anything different? Anyone want to say, if you noticed something different, raise your hand. If you didn't, then so a few people. Okay. What did you notice?
I didn't feel your resistance.
Yeah.
You're just moving it off to the side.
Anyone else?
You seemed more peaceful.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It felt more peaceful.
Mm-hmm. When I've done this, yeah, Claudia.
It seemed more centered and powerful.
So when I've done this exercise before in front of audiences, commonly the first time you can judge me, and the second time you can't. Did anyone have that experience that you just couldn't come up with? Some people in the back. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you what I did. So the first time I did that, very astute, barriers up, resisting. I don't want to receive that judgment. The second time I did, I took imaginally and took all my barriers down. And I was just being like a child. Hi. I see you. Thank you for seeing me. I receive you. And the feedback was there was more power, more presence, but there was total vulnerability. When we anchor into our total vulnerability, we have access to all power. And then we can joyfully receive everything that comes to us, because everything that comes to us is an expression of love. This is a very powerful practice that you could choose to use in any situation. You'd call for remembering, tuning in, using the memory to remember what it feels like to be loved. You would choose to see love in the actions in front of you. And then you push down all your barriers to love and just be. Hi. It's really good to see you. Thank you for seeing me. And that's how you joyfully receive love, because we remember that everything is love. Holmes writes on page 196 of The Science of Mind, we are dealing with an impersonal principle. It will operate for one just as quickly as for another because it is law. Dare to speak and know that what you speak is the law unto that thing regardless of what conditions exist. One alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. Knowing this in your thought, work in perfect peace and calm, always expect the good. That was all caps. Always expect the good. Have enthusiasm and above all, have a consciousness of love, a radiant feeling flowing through your consciousness at all times. Treat yourself until you have an inner sense of unity with all good. Be love now. And then you have access to the power of the all that there is. So we're going to take this into prayer. We know that there's only one mind, one heart, one breath. That is the breath of God. And as I am one with that breath, so is everyone here in the sound of my voice. We're each one in the breath of God, one in the love of God. And I, Tara, speak my word into that law that only says yes, knowing that the truth is there's only love, and that we are all love. And that we be love. The feeling of love flows in, God's love flows into and through each of us. And we feel it, and we radiate it, and we see it, and we joyfully receive it, knowing that every act is an expression of love or a call for love. Every act is love. And in this knowingness, I am so grateful to the Father within, because this prayer is already made manifest. It is already done. And I release it, and I let it go, and so it is.